Hello everyone, I'm Pan, about who uses Pan as a helmet. Today we're blasting up into game design with a super fun, essential element, the health bar. In this tutorial, we're breaking down how to add a simple, yet super effective health bar to your game. We'll get the function up and running in this video, and guess what? We might just come back with more animations and tweaks in the next one. Plus, I've got a whole series packed with game developing functions that you can use in your own game. Oh, and did I mention? I've also published my own game. You can check it out, the link in the description. Whether you're just getting started, or you're already a coding wizard, you don't want to miss this. Let's jump in and level up our game design skills together. Ready? Okay, now the first part is creating the UI and setting up the UI. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a canvas. You go right click here or click on this plus, UI, canvas. You can set the canvas settings like me. I'm gonna make it bigger. Change this from constant pixel size to scale with the screen size. Give your screen resolution. Mine is 1920 by 1080. Put this at 0.5. Then make it smaller. Okay, we need a slider for our health bar. Unity actually has that, so you can right click on your canvas, UI, go up here. This is a slider. You can click on this. I see it is small and it is here. Press on this scene, press on this 2D, select your slider and press F. It goes to your slider. You can make it bigger on both sides. How to get to this? You can press it from here, or you can press T on your keyboard. You can drag one side. If you want to stretch it on both sides, when you're stretching, just hold Alt. It's gonna stretch it on both sides. So I'm just gonna make it like this. Then I'm gonna put it here, maybe make it bigger on this side. We don't need this circle, so we open up our slider here. We just delete this handle slide area. You can press delete, or you can right click and delete. As you can see, it is deleted now. Then press on your fill area, go to your fill. You can give it a color. I'm gonna make it red, so when you give the slider a value, it's gonna decrease like this one. Go to your slider from here, change the max value to 100, because health is gonna be from 0 to 100. So as you can see, it has some empty space here. To fix this, you're gonna go to your fill area, press T again here, or press T, click it and drag it put it maybe here. You can zoom in to see it better. This is it. So when I'm on my slider, it's gonna be like this. As you see, it's gonna be full. So this is how we set up the UI. Let's actually set up a function for the health bar, the actual health bar, that we can give it a damage, we can change its value, or even maybe in the next part we can regenerate after a while. Before creating a script, let me show you guys. I have some kind of damage sounds. This one and the funny you died sound. So we're gonna play them randomly when we get a damage. So I'll just create a C# script. I'm gonna call it health bar. Double click to open it up. We need to access a UI in this script, so we're just gonna say using Unity engine.ui up here, so we can actually use a UI. Then we go down here. We need a reference to our health bar, which is a slider, so we're just gonna say public slider, and I'm just gonna name it health bar. Oh, you can't give it the same name as your script. I'm just gonna say, for example, health bar slider. So health bar slider is actually the slider we have. We need an audio to play when we get damaged. So we're just gonna say, first we need an audio source to play the audio on. So we're just gonna say public audio source. I'm gonna call it source. Again, you can name it whatever you want. Then I need an array of audio clips to play randomly from them. So I'm just gonna say public audio clip. I'm gonna make an array. Array is like you can put multiple objects of the same type inside one of them. So I'm just gonna name it damage sounds. And when I want to give it a value, I have to give it a value like this. For example, house number 1.play. You'll see in the upcoming minutes, okay? For the actual slider, we can, increase or decrease it by pressing a key. For example, let's actually, if input.get key down, key code dot, for example, T, I want it to decrease. And then when I say if input.get key down, key code dot Q, for example, I want it to increase. T is actually decrease and Q is actually increase. So this one is a decrease. When we press T, I want it to decrease in value. So I'm just gonna say health bar slider dot value minus equal. I want it to get decreased by, for example, 15. It's just gonna get decreased by 15 when I press T, and then it's gonna increase with the same amount when I press Q. And instead of minus, we're just gonna add plus here, so it gets plus 15 when I press, for example, Q. And when I press T, I want it to, play a punch sound. So we're just gonna say this source dot play one shot. This is important, open and close parentheses. I'm just gonna play
damage sounds house number. Okay, we need to give it a house number. For example, I can give it house number 0, so it plays the first sound. But I wanted to play a random sound from the array we give it. So we're just gonna say random.range, open and close parentheses, start from 0 and end it with damage sounds.lengths. So we have 3 inside, so it's gonna play randomly between house number 0, house number 1, and house number 2. So this is it. We can actually see it right now. Just create an empty object. I'm gonna call it HealthBar. I'm gonna give my HealthBar code to my game object. It needs 3 audios for damage sounds. I'm gonna add a 3. I'm gonna give it 1 by 1, or you can drag and drop it completely, or you can drag and drop it at once. It needs an audio source. I'm gonna give an audio source to my HealthBar, so I press on this add component, audio source. I drag and drop this audio source here. It needs a slider. The slider is actually this. Let's go and check it out. When I press T, it decreases, and I press Q, it increases. You're just gonna say inside here, you can just say if you've received the damage and you're less than that health, we just want to die. So we say if HealthBar slider that value is less or equal to 0, you're just gonna say debug the log. For example, you died. And we don't want to increase or decrease it anymore. So to stop that from happening, we need a boolean can change health, for example, which is equal to true by default, because we can actually change it. But when we are dead, we don't want to change it. So when we're dead, we're just gonna say can change health is equal to false. And right up here, we're just gonna say if can change health is equal to true. Then we cut both of these. You can right click cut here. You can paste it by Ctrl V or right click paste. So you can only change the amount when we are not dead. So you see, I can increase and decrease, but then at 0, it says, as you guys see, it says you died, and we cannot, change the values. But the important part is getting a damage. We can just delete this because we don't need it anymore. There's an important thing we're just gonna create here. It is a void damage that you can actually give to anyone who wants to give damage to our player. So I'm just gonna say public void damage player, and it needs a value, a float value of damage. We can access this void from other scripts. For example, an AI of enemy, we can give this to that AI. When it calls this function, this void, it's gonna give us a damage. And the function we're gonna be calling also needs a damage amount. The cube is gonna give us, for example, 12 damage. The strongman is gonna, for example, give us 25 damage. So each value is gonna be different. And because of that, we're just gonna give a different value for each damage. So what to do when we get damage, we just wanna say HealthBar slider the value minus equal the damage we created just above, and we need to create a damage sound. So we're just gonna say we're gonna do the same thing as we did above. Source.play one shot. We're gonna say, for example, play damage sounds house number random.range from 0 to the length of the same amount. So this is it, and in here we're gonna check if you're actually dead or not. So we're just gonna say if HealthBar slider the value is less or equal to 0, we're just gonna say debug the log we are dead, for example. This was for the function of the HealthBar. Now let's create a function for the cube that when we go inside it, it's gonna give us a damage. So we need a new script. I'm just gonna right click, create on this C#. I'm just gonna say damage cube, double click to open it up. In here we just need a reference to our actual code, the HealthBar code. So we're just gonna say public, give the name of the HealthBar. I'm just gonna say player health script, for example. We don't actually need these two, you can delete it. If you want to know how the cube trigger actually works, for example, some function should activate when we go inside this cube, I have a video on that as well. You can click on top of your screen right now, or you can get to the link in the description. I'm just gonna say void on trigger enter for when we go inside it. I'm void on trigger exit for when we go out of it. So when we go inside it, we just want to give a damage, so we're just gonna say player health script dot damage player. Damage player is the void we created, and it needs a value. As you can see, it's gonna give an error because it needs a float of damage. So I'm just gonna say the cube is gonna give him, for example, 17 damages. You can put the F here. If you want to make it a float, you have to put the F here. I'm just gonna give it 17 damages each time it is inside it. I want to give it damage every time it is inside, and when it goes outside and comes inside again, I want to give it another damage. So I'm just gonna create a boolean hit once is equal to false. By default, we're just gonna say if hit once was false, you can give it damage And if you did give it damage once, we're just gonna say hit once is equal to true. And when we are outside the cube, we just want to say hit once is equal to false. So what it actually does is, if we didn't hit it once and we just went inside, it's just gonna give it a damage, and it's gonna say we hit it once, and we're not gonna hit it again until it is outside and inside again. So I go to my cube, I give it this script. It needs a HealthBar script. You can click on the circle and find your game object with the HealthBar. You can drag and drop it here, for example. Okay, one more thing before we test it out. I'm gonna go to my HealthBar and I'm gonna play that funny sound for when we're dead. I'm just gonna create a public audio clip. I'm gonna call it funny death sound. And here we're just gonna say source that play one shot funny death sound. And if you want to, stop decreasing the sound anymore when you're dead, you can create a public boolean that you can actually change from every other code. So you're just gonna say public boolean we are dead, which is equal to false. When you're dead, it's just gonna say we are dead is equal to true. Which is what we're gonna do is, when we go inside our damage cube, we first gonna check if we are dead or not. So we say if player health script dot we are dead, the boolean we said is equal to false, we can actually do all of this. So just cut this and put it here. Okay, before starting, let's give it the funny death sound audio, and let's begin. When I go here, it's a damage. When I go outside, I go in, it's a damage. But when I'm in, whatever I do, I'm not gonna get damaged. So next time, we will die. As you can see, it says we're dead right down here. And it played the funny sound, and we are dead, and the health can no longer change. So this was creating a simple health bar in Unity. I tried to explain it as simple as I could, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something from this video. If you did, a like would be amazing, and if you want to see more Unity contents like this, you can subscribe. I'm gonna go do something for the end of the video, as I did in all my videos. So this is what I created for the end of the video using the things said in the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.